kalispera si olus ke chronia pola. No mi zoti burum na leme chronia pola koma Mrs. President of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. President of the Delphi Economic Forum, Mrs. President of the Hellenic Eteria, and Mrs. Secretary General of Europa Nostra, dear guests. It's a huge honor for me as head of the Brussels office of Europa Nostra and as a true admirer of the work and the personality of Costa Carras to be your guide here tonight. If I had to summarize my memories of Costa Carras, I would just mention two little quotes. And these quotes are taken from a speech that he gave on the occasion of an Europa Nostra award back in 2013. The first quote was when he was greeting people. And in the Orodionaticon in front of thousands of people, and he started by saying, more than any other place in the world, you are here at home. And I think, dear Simeon, he would have said the same thing here in Delphus. And the second quote was a quote where he paraphrased a quote by the British philosopher Bernard Williams, who said, the legacy of philosophy, of Greece to philosophy, philosophy to Greece, no, some agree is philosophy, and the legacy of Greece to Europe is Europe. This is what Costas added. To talk about and to mention about the reasons of our presence here tonight and the reasons behind this Costa Carras European Citizen Award, I'd like to call on stage the two representatives of the two organizations that launched this initiative, namely Europa Nostra and Hellenic Eteria. So I would like to call on stage in succession Śnieżka Mikhailovic, who is the Secretary General of Europa Nostra, and Andreas Zombanakis, who is the board member of Hellenic Eteria. But before Śnieżka comes on stage, let's listen a few minutes to the voice of Costas Carras.
Mr. President, you know very well that I neither sought nor anticipated such an honor. But if there was any honor I was ever to receive, this is the one which I would say I treasure most. And this for three reasons. First, because Europa Nostra is one of the most eminent of organizations of civil society, who in our generation are performing an absolutely fundamental role in preserving the confidence of citizens all over Europe in democratic process. Second, because Europa Nostra has placed at the center of the European project the cultural heritage of Europe, which is the only way Europe can revive and prosper. Third, because in the struggle of our generation and coming generations for a sustainable world, it will be necessary to draw on all the wealth of the tradition of the past, as well as on all the power of innovation in the future, in order to overcome a recent heritage of arrogance and greed, and in order to achieve the consequences we all desire. Mr. President and fellow members of Europa Nostra, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you.
It has always been very difficult to speak after our Costa, but I shall do my best to live up to the standard of this great European personality who has been and will forever remain my spiritual father. Madam President of the Hellenic Republic, Madam President of Elenikietaria, dear Lydia, Mr. President of the Delphi Economic Forum, dear Simeon, I can't see you, but you are there, dear colleagues and friends. Why have Europa Nostra and Elenikietaria decided to jointly launch the Costa Carras European Citizens Award for the safeguard of cultural and natural heritage? Because, as perfectly illustrated by the video which we have just seen, Costa Carras was an iconic champion of Europe's shared cultural heritage and values, and this for a period of half a century. And because we all gathered in this room, and many more people across Greece and across Europe and beyond, are Costa's admirers and disciples. By launching this European award, we wish to perpetuate the memory of this great European who was always ahead of his time. A brilliant mind and legendary voice who has been calling for paradigm shifts ever since he, together with his wife Lydia and a small number of visionary people, founded Elenikietaria 50 years ago. And for Europa Nostra, this is also a symbolic gesture to honor the legacy of one of our greatest leaders, and this in the year in which we celebrate our 60th anniversary. But this award is so much more than a tribute to our Costa. This is the way to encourage present and future generations of Europe's citizens to follow his power of example. Madam President of the Hellenic Republic, we are particularly honored by your presence at this ceremony. Throughout your career, you have been yourself the champion of one of Europe's most fundamental values, the rule of law, and the power of democracy, which draws its strength from citizen participation. And indeed, our joint commitment to the protection of Europe's cultural and natural heritage goes hand in hand with our commitment to the defense of fundamental human rights and the rule of law. Dear colleagues and friends, we are convinced that Delphi is the right place for us to reiterate and carry forward Costa Carras's firm belief that culture and our cultural heritage are the true foundation of the entire European project. It is definitely not a mere coincidence that we are today gathered in Delphi to honor the first laureate of the Costa Carras European Citizens Award, the Romanian NGO ARA, Architecture, Restoration, Archaeology. So many people has referred to the symbolism of Delphi, the navel of the ancient world, today one of the most wondrous World Heritage Sites, the place where the spirit of the Apollo is still alive. Costa loved and knew very many heritage places in Europe, but Delphi had a special place in his heart. Even when he was not busy campaigning for the preservation of the beauty and authenticity of the Delphic landscape, he would regularly come to Delphi with Lydia to walk and gain additional inspiration and energy. And it's also highly symbolic that we find ourselves in the premises of the European Cultural Center, which was created 50 years ago, at the time when Greece was returning to the family of democratic nations gathered around the values of the Council of Europe. As we have heard earlier today from its president, who is also tonight with us, this center is the place which nurtures and fosters European ideas and ideals to which the Greek civilization has made such a unique contribution. And we need such places more than ever. And last but not least, it is not a mere chance that one of the founding partners of the Costa Carras European Citizens Award is Delphi Economic Forum. Why? Because under the visionary leadership of its founding president, Simeon Somokos, Delphi Economic Forum is becoming known, I would say, as the most poetic and most humanistic of all economic fora which are organized across the globe. This was very visible during today's opening ceremony, as is also reflected in the program of this year's forum. Europa Nostra is very proud to have become, since last year, a content partner of the forum, and we look forward, together with our country representation in Greece, Elenikietaria, to work together with you to further deepen and enlarge the cultural dimension of this invaluable gathering. Yes, let us together reimagine a better, more sustainable, more inclusive, more peaceful, and more beautiful Europe and world. Our cultural and natural heritage forms a key vector to achieve this ambitious but necessary objective, a strategic resource which is, alas, non-renewable, but it is definitely non-polluting. It contributes to give a meaning, a heart and a soul to all our endeavors, including the wide world of economy. We are particularly happy that the very first laureate of the Costa Carras European Award come from Romania, from the region of the Southeast Europe. This region was particularly dear to the heart of Costa Carras, and we are delighted that this region, in which I was also born and raised, occupies today a key place in the commitment of Greece and of the Delphi Economic Forum for a more peaceful Europe. We thank you all for your presence in such big numbers at this ceremony, and we wish a very special warm welcome to the representatives of the highly deserving laureate, Ara, Claudia and Virgil Apostol, and Stefan Balici, president of the Order of Romanian Architects, who was one of the founders, but now has another position. I would like that we all give them a high round of applause. Thank you.
Madam President of the Hellenic Republic, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Elliniki Eteria, as co-founders alongside Europa Nostra of the Costa Carras European Citizens Award, I'd like to express how proud we are to be participants in this ceremony and how pleased we are that Costa's life and works will continue to be celebrated through this important prize. Kostas Carras was a citizen of the world, a European and a proud Greek with a deep belief in the transformative power of civil society. A classicist, a spiritual man, with a deeply cultured man with a reverence for both the natural world and our cultural heritage, it is apposite that this award should be given here in Delphi, the omphalos of the world, which in so many ways embodies the values he believed in, and whose stunning landscape he and his wife and partner, Lydia, and Elliniki Eteria fought so hard to preserve. Kostas was a life well led, and he leaves behind him a legacy we can all be proud of. Thank you.
We have spoken about the launch of an idea, but for the ideas to materialize, you need the support of a number of partners. So I would like to give the floor shortly, to three of our partners, the three founding partners of this award. I would like to first call our host here for these days, Simeon Somokos, the founder and president of the Delphi Economic Forum, who responded very positively since I remember that first moment we talked to him about this idea. Thank you, Simeon.
Madam President, we are again deeply honored that you are here with us. And I must admit, knowing personally Kostas Carras for his depth knowledge of his Oxfordian English language, please, I don't dare to address these brief remarks in English, out of respect. So please allow me to speak a few words in Greek. Επενώ και πραγματικά συγχαίρω την πρωτοβουλία της Europa Nostra και προσωπικά την κυρία Σνέσκα Μιχαήλοβιτς για την καθιέρωση του βραβείου Ευρωπαίων Πολιτών Κώστας Καράς. Και αποτελεί πραγματικά μεγάλη τιμή για το Φόρουμ των Δελφών που η σημερινή αυτή πρώτη βράβευση πραγματοποιείται στα πλαίσια της φετινής μας οργάνωσης με την παρουσία της αυτής εξοχότητας της Προέδρου της Ελληνικής Δημοκρατίας, της κυρίας Ακελαροπούλου. Σας ευχαριστούμε και πάλι, κυρία Πρόεδρε. Ο Κώστας αναμφίβολα υπήρξε μια ιδιαίτερα σπάνια φωτεινή προσωπικότητα. Ένας πραγματικά μεγάλος Έλληνας όλων των εποχών. Και δεν θα μείνει στη συλλογική μνήμη μόνο για το αστήρευτο πάθος του και το όραμά του για την προστασία της πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς της χώρας μας και της Ευρώπης και για την προστασία της φύσης και του περιβάλλοντος, αλλά και για τη βαθιά φιλοσοφική του στάση ζωής που είχε σε όλη τη διάρκεια του βίου του. Ο Κώστας Καράς εύκολα, και επιτρέψτε μου την υπέρβαση, να τον φανταστώ να περπατάει στην αρχαία αγορά των Αθηνών και να συζητάει για τα μεγάλα υπαρξιακά ερωτήματα με τους Στοικούς. Να συνομίλει με την Άννα την Κομνηνή και τον Μιχαήλ τον Ψελό στην πόλη στα χρόνια του Βυζαντίου και να αφουγκράζεται και να συμμετέχει στις αγωνίες της φιλικής εταιρείας στην Οδυσσό ή στην Πίζα με την ομάδα του Μητροπολίτη Γνάτιου για την απελευθέρωση του έθνους. Πρωτοστάτησε στις μέρες μας για περίπου πάνω από 50 χρόνια μέσω της Ελληνικής Εταιρείας Περιβάλλοντος και Πολιτισμού για το μεγάλο του ευγενές όραμα, τη διαφύλαξη της κοινής μας πολιτιστικής και περιβαλλοντικής κληρονομιάς. Είμαστε πραγματικά ιδιαίτερα ευτυχείς και υπερήφανοι που η Europa Nostra, η ευρωπαϊκή φωνή της κοινωνίας των πολιτών, που υπερασπίζεται ακριβώς αυτό, τη διαφύλαξη και την ανάδειξη της πολιτιστικής και φυσικής κληρονομιάς, μας τιμά με τη συμμετοχή της και τη συνεργασία της αυτά τα τελευταία χρόνια στο Φόρουμ των Αδελφών. Ευχαριστώ σας very much. Ευχαριστώ αυτή η συνεργασία να συνεχιστεί, να αναπτυχθεί ακόμα περισσότερο στα χρόνια που έρχονται και είμαστε πρόθυμοι πραγματικά και έτοιμοι να απονέμετε κάθε χρόνο αυτό το βραβείο κατά τη διάρκεια του Φόρουμ των Αδελφών. Κυρία Πρόεδρε, σας ευχαριστώ πολύ για την προσοχή σας.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ, Simeon. The second founding organization is a long-standing friend and supporter of both Elleniki Eteria and Europa Nostra. Anastasios Pavlos Levendis, the chairman of the Levendis Foundation, could not be with us tonight, but we have a little recorded message from him.
Madam President, dear friends, we are pleased to be able to support this prestigious award in the memory of a person of supreme importance in the conservation of natural and cultural heritage. Costa Carras devoted his life to effective conservation and sustainability, both in Greece and beyond. It is therefore fitting that this European award is created in his name and that it focuses on heritage under threat beyond national borders. I would like to congratulate ARA, this year's awardees. May they be the first of many worthy organizations to receive this recognition for their commitment to safeguarding European and culture and biodiversity. Thank you.
And the third founding partner is an organization with whom we have developed at Europa Nostra a very close cooperation by developing one of our most emblematic programs, which is called the Seventh Most Endangered Program. It's the European Investment Bank Institute is represented here today by Mariana Nathanael, who's the institutional affairs officer for Greece and Cyprus of the European Investment Bank office in Greece. Mariana.
Εξοχότατη κυρία Πρόεδρε της Δημοκρατίας, αξιότιμη κυρία Μιχαήλοβιτς, Γενική Γραμματέα του Europa Nostra, αξιότιμη κυρία Καρά, Πρόεδρε της Ελληνικής Εταιρείας, εκπρόσωποι των οργανισμών αυτών, κυρίες και κύριοι, είναι ιδιαίτερη τιμή και χαρά μου που εκπροσωπώ σήμερα την Ευρωπαϊκή Τράπεζα Επενδύσεων σε αυτή την βράβευση Η Ευρωπαϊκή Τράπεζα Επενδύσεων είναι η τράπεζα της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης. Είναι η κλιματική τράπεζα της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης και έχει θέσει ως στόχο την προστασία και της πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς. Γιατί? Γιατί η πολιτιστική κληρονομιά δεν είναι μόνο ένα πολιτιστικό θέμα. Είναι ένα θέμα οικονομίας, είναι ένα θέμα της κοινωνίας, είναι ένα περιβαλλοντολογικό θέμα. Γι' αυτό το λόγο η Ευρωπαϊκή Τράπεζα Επενδύσεων μέσω του Ινστιτούτου συνεργάζεται στενά με τη Europa Nostra και με την ελληνική εταιρεία περιβάλλοντος και πολιτισμού τα τελευταία χρόνια, από το 2013, στο πλαίσιο το 7 σε κίνδυνο, και στόχος είναι να προστατευθούν μνημεία, πολιτιστική κληρονομιά, η οποία βρίσκεται σε κίνδυνο. Κίνδυνο εγκατάλειψης ή κίνδυνο καταστροφής. Το βραβείο αυτό θεσπίστηκε από την Europa Nostra και την ελληνική εταιρεία στο όνομα του Κώστα Καρά, μια εμβληματική προσωπικότητα στον χώρο του πολιτισμού. Είμαστε ιδιαίτερα χαρούμενοι που είμαστε ιδρυτικοί έτεροι σε αυτό το βραβείο, μαζί με το Ίδρυμα Λεβέντη και με το Delphi Economic Forum. Εύχομαι καλή επιτυχία και συγχαρητήρια στην οργάνωση ARA, η οποία κατάφερε να κινητοποιήσει σε εθνικό και ευρωπαϊκό και διεθνές επίπεδο εθελοντές για την προστασία του Ρώσα Μοντάνα. Εύχομαι αυτή η βράβευση να αποτελέσει μια καλή ευκαιρία για να ξεκινήσει ένας μεγάλος διάλογος. Ένας διάλογος για το πώς η προστασία της ευρωπαϊκής πολιτιστικής κληρονομιάς μπορεί να βοηθήσει την ανταγωνιστικότητα της Ευρώπης, μπορεί επίσης να βοηθήσει στη βιώσιμη ανάπτυξη ολόκληρης της κοινωνίας μας. Σας ευχαριστώ πολύ.
And now is the moment we are waiting for, so to present the first Costa Carras European Citizen Award, I'd like to call on stage Lydia Carras and Sneska Mikhailovic.
Madam President, let me start by saying a very warm thank you to Europa Nostra, this invaluable voice of European citizens for heritage, nature, environment, who conceived the idea of this award and who asked us to be their partners, Ελληνική εταιρεία, for which Costa worked for over 50 years. Thank you also to the founding partners, the Leventis Foundation, whose founders shared the same values with Costa, and the Delphi Economic Forum, and Mr. Simeon Tsomokos, with whom Costa developed a great friendship over the years, and of course, the European Investment Bank. Costa loved Delphi, and every year he brought me here to what was for him a pilgrimage, as this landscape, loaded with history and culture, gave him great strength. Nothing would have given him greatest joy than an annual award for European citizens for endangered heritage and nature, as he believed in the role of citizens, both for democracy and for environment and heritage. He had got very involved with the efforts of the Romanian citizens to save Rosia Montana from a planned, unsuited development. He described to me his visit to Romania and in order to support Rosia Montana, and he was very proud to have joined a massive citizens' march, protest march. So he would be very happy that Romanian citizens won the unanimous vote of the 5 European members of the jury for their campaign to save Rosia Montana. As he often did himself, they fought against all odds They persevered and they did not give up. So, congratulations to the winners. Sυγχαρητήρια. Felicitare. And allow me, I was asked by Sneska to read to you the jury's comments. So, the awards jury, who has unanimously and enthusiastically agreed on the first winner of the Costa Carras European Citizen Award for the safeguard of endangered heritage, stated, ever since the establishment in 2006, the civil society organization ARA, Architecture, Restoration, Archaeology, from Romania, has played a decisive role in coordinating the campaign to protect Rosia Montana with its endangered cultural heritage and landscape. With very modest financial means, but with huge mobilization of dedicated volunteers, locally, nationally, and internationally, they managed to convince the Romanian authorities to prioritize a heritage-led sustainable development and to successfully submit the application for the inclusion of Rosia Montana historic mining landscape on UNESCO's World Heritage list. UNESCO's World Heritage list. Their expert and courageous work is truly exemplary and gives inspiration to citizens across Europe to take strong ownership of their cultural and natural heritage and to engage in their safeguard. This is what the jury wrote. So, it includes the Delphic landscape. Huh? Yes, the design includes the landscape.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. We also have a small presentation. Madam President, thank you so much for this honor. May I start by thanking the jury, of course, Europa Nostra and Elenicheteria, for the great honor of granting the very first award of, that honors the work and the legacy of Costa Carras to us. And thanking the hosts of this event for giving us the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our work, who we are, and what we stand for. So ARA, as it was said earlier, is a Romanian NGO established in 2006 with the aim to contribute to the protection and enhancement of Romanian endangered cultural landscape and to achieve positive change in the field directly through the project it runs. Our projects range from research on built heritage to direct documentation and conservation works involving local traditional communities to field schools dedicated to education and training with a focus on vernacular experimental and to the annual ARA symposium or to publishing annual peer-reviewed scientific ARA reports. We have been constantly involved also in protecting the outstanding cultural landscape of Rosia Montana, UNESCO World Heritage Site today, through research and conservation, by community actions and promoting public appreciation of the site. So why Rosia Montana? Rosia Montana, the ancient Alburnus Major, Roman Alburnus Major, is the rural settlement in Romania with the highest number of listed historic monuments and the oldest mining town in Romania. Moreover, its universal value has been advocated for decades, not only by our organization, but also ICOMOS, Europa Nostra, the European Order of Architects, and many others. And of course, a long list of international experts that have asked for the historic mining landscape of Roșia Montana to be granted the UNESCO status. We are talking about a most exceptional site, recognized by international professional community and legally protected by the Romanian law. This vast, exceptional landscape is also the place with the largest gold deposit in Europe. So since the 90s, gold mining started preparing here what it would have been Europe's largest cyanide open-cast mine, an initiative that met a strong community resistance, but also a huge countrywide and also international response fueled by serious concerns regarding the environmental but also cultural impact of this project that would have destroyed the heritage of Roșia Montana. This is the context in which we started in 2006 our projects here. We started with desperate actions of documenting the site, from buildings to landscape features, as the fundament of all our actions. This is what we have continued to do for the past 17 years and is included in each yearly campaign. And it involves professionals from different fields, students, and hundreds of volunteers. Also, more than 100 features have been documented since. Emergency interventions like the one you see here, to secure endangered buildings, again with students and a strong community implication happening as part of our summer schools. Also identifying local resources, traditional local skills, craftspeople, and materials that can enable the revival of a local economy endangered as well. This is a continuous learning process for us also. So these are the main pillars that made it possible for us to start a more structured presence since 2012, when we launched the Adopt a House program. But I would like to go back a little bit on the general context of all these works. It was 2013 that was the actual real game changer for the fate of Roșia Montana. It was the year of the first edition of the 7 Most Endangered program, and Roșia Montana was, thanks to Europa Nostra, listed and therefore highlighted as a major cultural heritage hotspot, a wealth of heritage, imminent threat, and also huge potential. This brought a more focused attention on the matter of Roșia Montana on international level. 2013 was also the year of what we call in Romania the revolution of our generation. Huge protests in all main cities in Romania and tens of other cities worldwide, from London to Berlin, Rome, or New York, sparked. One of the main claims of the protest was explicitly the inclusion of Roșia Montana mining landscape on the UNESCO World Heritage List and also on the World Heritage in Danger List. For the first time in Romania, the issue of endangered heritage was out on the streets and shouted out by thousands of voices worldwide. The result of these protests was that the Romanian government and the Romanian parliament abandoned the bill that was designed to make this mining project legally acceptable and possible. So we go to 2014, that is again very, very important for us. It was a milestone in our struggle for the case of Roșia Montana and in our attempt to include Roșia Montana on the UNESCO list. The Europa Nostra mission to Roșia Montana and to Romania, part of the 7 most endangered process, was the moment that Costa, Carras and fellow participants from Europa Nostra, John Sell and Guy Klaus, came to meet the community in Roșia Montana and address the challenges of our common struggle. Costa, Carras, together with Europa Nostra, gave a well-deserved voice to the sustainable development scenario we all envisioned for Roșia Montana. Europa Nostra remained, for more than a decade, one of our most biggest important supporters in the case of Roșia Montana. So here you see Costa, Carras visiting the mining museum in Roșia Montana, and here in the Unitarian Parish House, our base in Roșia Montana, in an exhibition that we organized there in 2014. During the years that followed, our presence here was structured in several directions. Of course, the conservation projects, big and small, emergency interventions, and also a design and builds program, small-scale interventions to facilitate the interpretation of the site. You see some of these examples there, and also the craftspeople that we work here with, and our volunteers. Of course, public events like the ones we do every year are also very important on site and elsewhere in Romania to promote the heritage of Roșia Montana and the case of heritage in general, and to inspire others to take action, no matter how big or small or how insignificant some say their struggle is. Promoting the heritage also meant preparing and publishing a series of materials, brochure, albums, intervention guides for the local community regarding the heritage, thematic studies, and so on. In 2021, Roșia Montana was finally inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. It was a recognition of the exceptional importance of the site, but also of our efforts, not only ours, but together with Europa Nostra and the local community. Without it, we couldn't have started anything there. And the specialists involved in our program, hundreds and hundreds of volunteers that contributed each and every of all of these years. This is the moment that marks a new beginning for Roșia Montana. Costa Carras was saying after his visit in Roșia Montana, there's so much to be done, and he was right 10 years ago, and we're saying it again, there's so much to be done. And this is, of course, the inscription. It was not the end of our efforts, but the beginning of what should be a real construction phase, consistent and scaled up to the needs of the site. And we are happy that this moment made also the central and local public authorities to take steps towards the conservation of the site as well. This, again, was something very hard to imagine 10 years ago. I will end this brief presentation with this image that is one small but so significant and dear to us, proof that it's all worth it. It's a theater play organized by our local NGO partner, so the local community partnered with the National Theatre Company in one of the properties restored by ARA. So not so long ago abandoned and almost collapsed. And now the venue of a cultural event fueled by the local community. So more events like this will follow every year. Our local partners prepare for this summer school a children's festival, another a theater marathon also, and the third local cultural festival called Roșia Montana Alive. We also prepared the 12th campaign of the Adopt a House program, and the public authorities are, as we speak, starting another 8 interventions on buildings, historic buildings in Roșia Montana. For all this and for the award we are deeply, deeply honored to receive today, we thank Europa Nostra and Heleniki Eteria for all your support. Thank you, Madam President, again. And also to our partners, collaborators, and most of all to the local community that we can't wait to go back this weekend to Roșia to share all this joy with everybody else back home. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Very moving. I think everybody will agree there was no other organization or project that could have been better suited for this first Costa Carras Citizen Award. We were supposed to have a last intervention this evening by the Romanian embassy, representative from the Romanian embassy, Adriana Ciamba, who's the chargée d'affaires at the Romanian embassy. But she informed us that she was retained in Athens because there's an ongoing operation to remove the Romanian citizens from South Sudan. So you see, Simeon, the world is continue to turn. So this operation is done with the support and the help of the Greek authorities. So she asked us to read this short message to you and particularly to the winners. We are proud that the first Costa Carras European Citizen Award goes to Romania, to Roșia Montana, which Costa Carras himself cherished and whose heritage he highly valued. He even visited the site shortly after the start of the program, Adopt a House, by the winners of tonight, the Romanian Association ARA. Warm congratulations to the team of ARA, to all the volunteers of the Adopt a House program who have contributed in the last 10 years to putting Roșia Montana in the spotlight, a different spotlight, that of deep care for its extraordinary natural, cultural, historical, architectural, and human heritage. Roșia Montana is a sort of little Romania due to its multicultural character and millenary history. Thanks to the hard work of ARA and their supporters, thanks to their enthusiasm and dedication, the recent history of Roșia Montana is that of civic participation, of involvement in ensuring a sustainable future. Roșia Montana has become a reference for positive examples of restoration and preservation with the active participation of the local community and authorities. We are convinced that the Costa Carras Award, which recompensates these efforts, will further inspire their priceless work. We honor that Her Excellency, the President of the Hellenic Republic, has generously agreed to attend this ceremony, a proof of her commitment to the preservation of our common treasure, the rich, unique cultural and natural heritage of Europe. Congratulations to the jury, presided by Guy Claus, to the teams of Europa Nostra and Heleniki Eteria, and to all the nominees. Thank you. By ending this ceremony, I have two small communications. First of all, Lydia referred to it. We all invite you tomorrow to our Heritage Walk for Climate and Peace tomorrow, starting in front of the Amalie Hotel at 8:30. It will be about 1 hour. We will go down to Chrysou, and we have buses taking us back in order to be on time for the beginning of the second day of the Delphi Forum. And it marks also the 60th anniversary of Europa Nostra. The second message I wanted to say, and it's a great pleasure for me to do that, is to declare open the call for nominations for the 2024 edition of the Costa Carras European Citizen Award. And hopefully, dear Simeon, maybe I mean, we will be able to do it here again and to all be all together. So I'd like to thank you all for your participation, particularly you, Mrs. President. And I would like just to ask you to remain seated while the President of the Republic leaves us. Thank you very much.